Okay, so I see record. Do we see record up on the
Yes, I
screen?
see it.
Okay, and I think I see it on my screen. So we're ready to go whenever whenever the chair wants us to.
Okay.
Um,
Can you also confirm, is Chris Labrie on? I think he was dialing in as well. Can you see whether he's
yeah,
on?
we
There he is.
have
Yep.
you, Chris Labrie, Hilary Ormond, Karen Burke, and Peter Barheit.
Okay, terrific. And we're still waiting for Todd.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Chris is
get,
on. Shall I
yeah,
give him a
Chris is
call?
on.
All right.
All right, while you're doing that, Angela, let's just get started then. Good evening, everyone. This is the Tuesday, June 30th meeting of the Charter Revision Commission. It's 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to ask Angela if you'd be kind enough to begin with the roll call.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So, the roll call. Okay. Mr. Case.
Present.
Miss Corbett.
Here.
Miss Holm. Here. Miss Jameson. Here. Mr. Kimes.
Present.
Mr. Lampert.
Yep.
Not. Mr. Lampert. Oh, good. Great.
Yep.
Mr.
I'm
Labrie.
here.
Very good. Miss Neville.
Here.
Mr. Parlow.
Here.
Mr. Perrett.
Here.
Miss Willett.
Here.
Okay. I don't believe I forgot anybody, and we do have a quorum.
Great. The full commission. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Let's start by doing approval of the minutes for June 18th. And those were submitted. Any questions, comments, corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Okay, Steve, thank you. Second.
A second.
Second, Karen. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody in the public that wants to, sorry?
Sorry, we do have some subgroup minutes
Oh,
that we
thank
could
you.
approve,
Okay,
if
yes,
everybody-
forgive me. Yeah,
So we have minutes of a meeting on June the 1st, the subgroup on inland wetland ordinances, and it was myself and Todd Lampert. So Todd, are you okay with those minutes, the draft minutes?
I am. No objection. I'll move those minutes.
Okay, do you want to make a motion?
I just did. I moved the minutes.
Oh, you did, I'm sorry. Okay, and I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, well, you weren't at the
Oh,
meeting.
that's right.
right?
Sorry, I was answering an email.
Okay,
I
and
wasn't
then the second one is another subgroup on June 1st. This was the subgroup on the appointment process. Those present were myself and Mr. Kimes. Any comments?
Done.
Would you like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion to approve as submitted.
And I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, those are passed. Thank you.
I didn't read those minutes, but what was the substance of the recommendations of that meeting?
Oh, well, they're all there in the
Yeah, I
record for you
know,
to look at. And so for the appointment process, it was agreed that the subgroup would draft a memo for the CRC to consider with recommendations to town council and enhancing the appointment process for boards, commissions and committees in line with the proposed changes to Article 3.4 of the Charter, how to make certain appointments and fill certain vacancies. And Russ is in the process of
Sent today.
Yep, and we can schedule a discussion of that.
So that was like the subgroups, because
Yeah.
all the subgroups that we try to establish, and that was one of the.
That was one of those,
Make
yes.
tests.
You want to know about the other one?
Nope, that's fine.
Okay.
and with the idea that, and I've watched some of them, and with the idea that when they're ready, the subgroups will come forward to the CRC and discuss their findings and recommendation and so forth. So we'll have an opportunity to review all of those.
Yeah, I just trying to get out in front of a question I want to ask sometime later today or some other meeting. When are we over with? I know the pay is good. I'm just trying to figure out how long.
We have really until the day after Election Day. So as we've discussed at this body, that obviously we're working on the draft report, we're working on the final report. but we're also working on these subcommittees with the idea that we can bring these forward once we hear from the subgroups to the full CRC. And once we have that discussion, we then will encourage the subgroups or members representing subgroups to then go before the town council, because many of these, as you know, are recommendations for perhaps ordinance change or process recommendations, et cetera. So those will take place, over the course of between when people are ready and can bring it to us, maybe at our next meeting, next couple of meetings. I suspect, just as an example, the Historic Preservation Committee subgroup, if you will, Steve, you're hard at work at that as well as the full group, and I suspect that you'll probably be coming back to us maybe by August, early September, and then you'll take it to the town council. Does that help?
We're aiming for
Bill?
I think we should just, I don't want to take us off on a tangent. We should talk about that at one point, whether, I understand the value of what you're suggesting we're doing, but whether it's being embraced and received on the other end, I think is a question. And I guess reading some of the stuff for this meeting, I was sort of wondering whether I sort of thought our tenure was over much before November. And
Oh no, we have a lot of work to do. Yeah. No, I mean, part of our work also.
I don't think so, but it does tie
Okay.
into insurance as well.
Well-
But we can discuss that. Yep.
But can I
Yeah.
just make a comment? The statute's very clear. This commission terminates upon the acceptance or rejection of the final report by the appointing authority.
So part of the process that we've always
By the
this
statute, we are basically done.
So part of the process that this commission has undertaken in years gone by, and this one as well, is that we're part of the education process. And as you heard at the town council meeting, as we spoke with the councilman there, there's a lot of work to be done. People need to understand, what's being asked of them, what's going to be on the ballot. As Judy and I did just earlier, we go before the library. There's a lot of education. Anybody who's around 10 years ago knows that that's part of the process, part of our responsibilities that we're willing to take on. And so and as we've discussed this topic very well throughout, that this is really up until, our payday is up until the day after election.
I'm willing to help and participate.
You put your mic on?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Bill?
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Yeah, just
I'm willing to help and participate, but I guess, I would think under the statute that we're, that the CRC is done. And then we just, as volunteers can continue to work.
Right. It's the statute's really clear that the commission shall terminate upon acceptance or rejection of its final report by the appointing authority,
Yeah.
which is town council. And I think the expectation is that report will be accepted or rejected in July.
We should
Yeah.
get legal.
Yeah, I certainly hope that it is accepted or rejected, but there's still work to be done, and we will stay involved. If you don't want it to stay involved, that's fine, but we will. So
Yeah, I just
and
don't want to rewrite the report till November. It's fine.
no. We will, as you know, Bill, as we've had this discussion, we'll get right into that, but I do want to go into the public comment section too. So is there, Joe, you had your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yes, the subgroups that you're referring to, these are the ordinance. He's working on the ordinance, is that correct? As I understand it, the town council charge to us, our mandate was to produce the report. And during our first couple of meetings, we had a number of discussions as to whether or not we would be covered under the liability insurance of the town for our work on the commission. The appointing body did not authorize us to work on the ordinance. So my question is, can we get an official ruling? Would we be covered by the insurance should an issue show up during work on the ordinance? And there seem to be quite a number of ordinances. So I'd like to get an official response that coverage is extended beyond what our official mandate is.
Okay, and when Nick joins us, so you can certainly ask him that question. I would suggest, however, that you are well aware of the fact that these are recommendations to the town council. So the town council is the one who will consider, if the case is ordinances, they will consider it based on our recommendations, work that we've done, comparisons to other towns, et cetera. So I don't think there's going to be an issue about legal liability, but we'll have counsel talk about that.
And some of the presenters that presented here and at the town council talked about an attorney's dream on a discrimination case. We were told that there's some issues that might be related to discrimination. And I just would like to know, be comforted by the fact that the insurance coverage extends to an activity that's something beyond the mandate of the charter. That's all.
But I'm confused. If we're terminated, are we
Right,
then
right.
needing to be reconstituted by town
I have
council?
no idea. No idea.
Well, let's take these questions up when our counsel joins us, and let's not take any more time until that happens. Okay? Is there anyone in the audience that from the public that would like to speak? Is there anybody there? Can someone tell me?
I have a
One.
question.
Kim
Is this my
Norton.
only opportunity to speak
Yes.
now?
Yes.
Can I wait until afterwards?
Probably should speak now.
So just to let Kathleen know, because she's chairing and she's on Zoom. So Kim Norton from Town
Yeah.
Council is here and would
Sure,
like
Kim.
to speak.
Okay. Welcome.
Thanks, sir. Sure.
Right here?
Right here.
My seltzer because it's very hot out. Let me take a sip. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so Madam Chair and members of the Charter Revision Commission, my central point is this: as the appointing authority, the town council speaks through formal action taken by the body. Recommendations to the Charter Revision Commission must be grounded in official council action, meaning motions considered and voted on in a duly convened meeting. So in my view, no formal recommendations were never adopted by the town council. This distinction matters because the council operates under established rules of deliberation, including Robert's Rules of Order, which govern how collective bodies reach decisions. Under those principles, the council acts only through motions and votes of members who are present and participating. Informal tools such as straw polls may be useful during discussion, but they are not binding actions and do not constitute official decisions of the body. When the town council began the charter revision process and appointed this commission, I expected that after 2 public hearings and subsequent council discussion, we would provide a clear, formally adopted resolution reflecting the council's recommendations. However, that did not occur. For the record, the resolution prepared by my colleague was never voted on by the town council and was never circulated for formal council approval before being transmitted to the commission. I therefore do not believe it should have been treated as an official statement of the council's position or used as such in guiding the commission's work. Instead, the commission received materials characterizing informal straw polls as though they reflected official town council recommendations. While straw polls can provide useful context for understanding how members were leaning during discussion, they are not formal actions of the council and do not by themselves establish an official position of the appointing authority. I am also concerned that the reported straw poll results included 3 proxy votes. My understanding is that proxy voting is not permitted under the council rules or under Robert's Rules of Order, which require that decisions be made by members present and participating in the deliberative process. Once those proxy votes are removed, the reported results change materially. Term limits are 5 members voted in favor and 4 were opposed if you take out the proxy votes. Should the Board of Finance be appointed or elected was a very close vote. 4 were voted in favor on the straw poll and 5 were opposed. So only a difference of 1. Same with planning and zoning. Should they be elected or appointed? 4 voted in favor, 5 were opposed, difference of 1. And then the ethics proposal that I worked on, we had 3 in favor and 5 opposed. So that's all if you take out the proxy votes. So what was reported in the newspaper was like votes like 8-4 term limit and Board of Finance like 8-4. So to me, those are spurious results and really not not reflective of the council's discussions. So these results do not reflect clear consensus or formal council action. Rather, they illustrate that the council did not reach a unified position on several of the issues presented. That leaves two possibilities, and I apologize if I missed the first 3 minutes of your discussion because things are changing very quickly with this commission. But first, if the statutory deadline for the town council recommendations has passed, which I have read many arguments today in emails about that, then the council has not exercised its opportunity to adopt formal recommendations to the commission. Second, if the commission continues to consider straw poll results, which I'm not sure how you're proceeding, and I know we're waiting for the attorney to get on at 5:30, then those materials should be clearly treated as informational only and not as expressions of official council action. Either way, I do not see a basis to conclude that the town council adopted formal recommendations on these matters. The charter is the town's governing document. It deserves a process that is transparent, deliberative, and faithful to both the law and the council's own rules. My concern is not with the commission's work, but with ensuring that it is grounded in what the town council actually acted upon as a body, rather than informal expressions that were never formally adopted. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I
Appreciate
add
that. I'm sorry? Go ahead, Joe.
May I say something and follow up to Kim's statement?
Is it a question or you have a question or?
I just have a very brief sentence I want to read into the record, follow up to what Kim said. It was provided to us on the 25th of June by Nick Vermonti. These are his words, and it's just really 2 sentences. It says, and it's very supportive of what Kim said. The statutes speak in terms of the appointing authority. That is the town council as a body. That means formal recommendation of the town council must be made by the majority vote of those seated when the item is taken up. Absentee and/or straw poll votes do not count. I know Nick is not on, but these are his words. And has anybody seen this? Everybody seen this?
Let's take number one, Joe. You've not read the full thing. There's a couple of sentences after that too. Let's not waste anybody's time.
I'm missing an email from today as well.
And let's make sure. Why don't we get Nick on so we're not repeating ourselves twice? Go ahead, Bill.
No, I was just going to say that I wasn't sure that Kim was going to be staying until Nick got on, but I would think it'd be important for Nick to hear.
I agree.
What Kim said, and I would ask if you might have to read that again, or if you want to leave it with us, I'll read it, but not as passionate as you've read it. And I really think it's important because this is, I know that people think, that there's some kind of mischief going on or the different things, that this is really important.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
81 years old, and I've, to the best of my belief and knowledge, have always followed the law.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So I don't know whether you're going to still be around, Kim, but I think that Nick should be joining us in about 14 minutes.
I will stay for the remainder of the meeting, so I will be here if you need me.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Anybody else in the room or on Zoom?
I'm sorry, Judy has a question.
I have a comment. Are you planning on having this same discussion at town council? Has that already been decided that you will present this?
Well, our next meeting is July 15th. There's a meeting tonight about something different. That's a special meeting that's supposed to be very quick. It's not on the agenda.
All right.
So I don't have an agenda item to discuss this. So that would be up to the executive committee, which is like Mike Morrow, Hillary Ritter Orman, and Janet set the agenda. So I'd be happy to have this discussion if they decide to put it on the agenda.
Otherwise,
I
it's
don't
a
think they can.
meeting
It's
a
a
week.
special meeting.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about, sorry.
Emergency, isn't it, tonight?
Okay, so I just got a comment from Mr. Kimes that it's a special meeting, but I wasn't talking about tonight. It's not on the agenda, so I don't think it's going to go on tonight. But in a future meeting, if they wanted to put it on the agenda, I will be happy to read the statement or have the discussion or whatever. Right now, I don't know.
It has not been discussed on town council.
No, and we can't discuss it by email because of FOIA.
Well, that's my point.
That's a perfect point. Thank you. Especially given that we're doing that far too much. Not you. I'm not talking to you, Kim. But thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. And yeah, I do note that you do have a meeting, but that has nothing to do with the CRC tonight. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much. I do hope, and I just, I don't know if Mike Morrow is on. Has he dialed in? Is anybody else from the town council on?
Heather has raised her hand.
Raising her hand.
And Hillary Ormond has actually had her hand up for a long time.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't see it from here, so just let me know. Is she next then for public comment?
Oh, Hillary seems to have taken her hand down.
So I think Heather is.
I'm here. I can speak to
Would you
what
like
my colleague.
comment?
Yes, please.
All right.
I'm sorry for the darkness. I've been traveling today and I'm preparing to travel tomorrow. So I just wanted to respond to my colleagues' well thought out and well presented comments. Mine will not be as well presented or well thought out, but I think it's important to point out a couple of things. One, to Ms. Neville's point, this was not brought up before the town council. We had discussed the process that we were going to take numerous times over numerous meetings. This has come forward now very late in the process. The straw poll is data. We are not required under the statute, and Nick can speak to this certainly. There's no requirement under the statute that at the point at which we did the straw poll, that a formal recommendation was required, nor was a majority vote required. The majority vote and formal vote is after you all present to us your final draft. The state legislature knew the difference between the two in drafting the applicable statute. If they had wanted to require that our recommendations be formal and be by a majority vote, then it would have said that. It certainly knew how to say that because it requires it for what goes on the ballot. So that's the first point. I'm not sure where this, I'm actually not quite sure what you're insisting the statute requires from us to move forward. Secondly, if the straw poll can't be used as data and can't be used as information, then certainly the idea that there would be support in the straw poll for things that took place without 3 of our members present can also not be considered. So I'm not quite clear how to square those two sort of diametrically opposed views. What we did was we tried to indicate to you guys, as was requested by members of your committee, that we provide an idea of where we stood. Nothing is binding. People can change their minds after the final report comes to us. But the idea that we could not provide you with that or that it wasn't clear from the meeting is quite baffling to me. I understand what the strategy is here. I know, I understand, like, this is not untransparent to those of us who know what's going on, why people are taking this position. And I'm happy to elucidate on that. But I think that what we did was appropriate. It's giving you recommendations, it's giving you data, and you can use it or you can reject it. That's also what the statute says. So you all can do technically what you want at this point. But that was what I had to say. I'm still waiting for something in the statute that says that we were supposed to do something different than what we did, because that would have been a formal vote, which isn't required. So I feel like we're going in circles a little bit. Okay. Any further questions, just let me know. I think that's the, that's my position.
I have a question.
Thank you, Hillary.
I have a question, Hillary. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that there was a memo sent to Mike Morrow and to Kathleen on the 25th, which alerted the town council that they needed to act quickly because of the statute. I'm oversimplifying it. I don't know whether you received that memo. I know that I didn't. And I'm a little bit upset that I didn't receive it, because this commission hired Nick and his firm represent us. And he had a memo that was that important that he felt he should send to the chairman. I think he should send it to the entire committee. I recognize we didn't set those protocols when we hired him. Maybe we should have. But I just wondering, did you get that memo yourself as a member of the town?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at my email, and I'm on my phone right now with my email on it. Joe, what's the date of the?
Had you received that, the way I read it, I think Mike, well, it was addressed to Mike. I don't know if he received it. I don't think there would be a question, because why would Nick write to anybody and tell them they have to do things? Now,
But you haven't read the email, Bill.
all I'm trying to do is just make sure we comply with the law. And the town.
Why don't we?
Wait,
Why
I'm
don't we
confused.
still- Hold on,
yeah.
both of you, if you'd be
Yeah.
so kind.
Of course.
We're moments away from Nick joining us. So let's have those questions, Bill. Totally
Joining us as
appropriate to ask.
Is he joining us as a representative of the town or counsel to the committee?
I'm talking about Nick Bamonte.
Yeah, so
He's
am
our
I.
counsel. He's our counsel. Oh, sorry. I thought you
Counsel
were
to the
talking about
committee
Mike.
or I know he's our counsel.
He's our counsel. He's our counsel.
Committee.
Nick Bamonte is our counsel to the Charter Revision Commission. So you can ask those questions when he joins. In the meantime, Heather, did you have a question or a comment?
I'd rather Nick be on the line. I just feel
Okay,
like
very good. No,
that would
I
be helpful.
appropriately so. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Anybody else?
We have 2 members from the town council that have joined us. We should put that on the record. Would either one of you like to speak?
I would.
Yeah. You want to go now or you want to wait for Nick?
I'd rather wait a few minutes.
All right, then you can join the the table and we'll all wait.
And Judy, that's Christina. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Christina
No,
Ross.
that's okay. Yeah. Anybody else?
And Janet Fons is here. I don't know if she
But
wants to
you're
speak.
not, she hasn't indicated she's
All right,
speaking. Are
well-
you speaking?
Hillary pretty much articulated
Okay.
my exact sentiments.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much. Well, we'll take this up. I'm going to take up something new. I'm going to ask for the vote on the commission to something I sent in advance earlier today, which we had received from Peter Barheit on the proposed, and I just looking at it on my phone. So the proposed final report that would be printed in the newspaper in a separate section. I think Peter's on the line if you had any questions for him. Did everybody receive it? First of all, can I have a motion to add this to the agenda, the regular meeting?
I move.
Okay. Second, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great. So, and I think someone asked, I'm sorry, Bill?
Why are we opposed?
I'm sure I received it. but I haven't read it.
I can't read it is what I was going to
Going in the
say.
pa-
It's
it's the thing for
so
the paper.
tiny. Yeah. Are you
Yeah,
just looking for?
Do you want
Are you
to, they
just-
made copies, so.
Here, yeah.
Here,
I'm
Ben.
sorry. I thought everybody got theirs.
No,
All right.
Judy will
Are
share
you,
one.
you looking
So-
for format decision here? We're not
So, well,
discussing the
Peter-
content.
No, not the content, of course.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
Peter
that's right.
gave us a layout suggestion, and you're right. I can only see it on my phone, so I am assuming
Yeah.
that you guys had maybe a better opportunity to do it on your computers. But if you haven't, that's fine. We could take it up. Peter, are you available to join us for a brief moment?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, Peter.
Remembering
Thank
this
you.
is all-
Thank you so much. Yes. So Peter, as the owner of the Sentinel, has been kind enough to work with us for publication of the final report. Peter gave us a kind of a sample. I think it was, is it 4 pages per newspaper? Is that correct?
That sounds roughly correct. Yes.
Okay. And then I assumed that the first page represented a whole full newspaper page. It
Yes,
looked like
which is,
that to me. Okay.
and that's why there's white space on the bottom of it.
Okay. All right. Very good. And that I know it was just the first part of the report did not include, obviously, the red line version of the charter, but you'd be prepared, assuming the report was 74 pages for whatever that would total up in terms of having our own section. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right. Is that clear to everybody? It'd be a separate section in the newspaper It would be scheduled to get, once we got approval for the final report from the town council over a given number of days after we submit it. We would then notify Peter that he can go ahead and publish it. So again, depending on how soon the town council can approve it and any changes that they might be either rejecting or accepting, if they accept what we submit, if there are any modifications, we will make those modifications and then the final will go out for print. I'm not talking about publication now in terms of hard copy, other than what we are proposing under statutes for publication for the final report. Any other comments or questions that we need to follow up on?
Steve,
Steve,
whichever, yeah.
Yeah, Joe. I just wanted to make sure while Peter's on the phone, the cost estimate that Kathleen gave us, was it 2 weeks ago, was, I should remember the number, I'm thinking around $7,000, $8,000. Is that, did you find anything in coming up with this draft, which seems totally reasonable, that would change that initial cost estimate?
Is that a question for me, Peter?
Yes.
Okay. No, I do not foresee anything increasing the cost of this. So I don't think I don't anticipate how the cost would increase. The only thing that I was thinking of earlier today when I sent this over to Kathleen was that you all might want to see a physical mock-up of it, which there is a slight cost to that, but I don't want to adjust our proposed cost to you. We'll take that on the chin, so to speak. It's more important for us that the information get out to the community as opposed to and that it's correct. So we would like to make sure that we're facilitating that for you all.
Thanks.
Would
I
a
have
mark?
question.
Go ahead, Joe.
Could you tell us approximately, as best you can, each one of these squares normally would be an 8.5 by 11 page, I believe. So what will actually be the physical size of this square when it's in the paper?
So a couple of weeks ago, I think Russ went and grabbed some copies of the paper that were in the town hall to sort of look at it. If you look at this week's paper and just look at any section, and you won't see the 4 pages on it per se, but you can, if you look at them side by side, you can kind of envision how it would lay out.
Well, I don't want my envisioning to actually drive any decision. So I'm saying to you, is this a 6 by 3 or 5 by 4? I mean, in your experience, what is the approximate size of what we're looking at here? Starting with a base of 8.5 by 11.
I'm sorry.
I believe I don't have the mock-up in front of me at the moment. I'm actually not in front of my computer. I'm on my phone as well. But I believe the way the mock-up is at the moment, it's 4 over. It's 2 over 2 on the page. We could go to 2 over 3, so to speak, which would be 6 pages on the page. And that's completely legitimate to do. My concern with going that small in the font, in the typeface, is that it will be very difficult to read, and I wouldn't want that to be a reason for people to critique.
I think you misunderstood that question. My question was inches or meters or millimeters is approximately how big would one of these squares be? That's really the question. I understand I can envision, but I'm asking for size measurement so I can gauge if it's readable or not.
If I may ask a question that may answer your question.
Good.
Peter, first, thank you for your partnership in helping us out with this, in particular for taking it on the chin to make a mock-up. When do you think we'd see the mock-up? That might answer all the questions. We have a meeting Tuesday. I know that's a tight turnaround, but even if it's, spurious old versions of it, doesn't matter because it's not the real content till this is done anyways.
Right. The content's really irrelevant. It's a question of getting our printer to the way the process works. They have to create a plate, and then we print newsprint off of the plate. So I need to give them the content to create, let's say the first page and the second page, so you can see the cover page and what the actual report would look like. I would need probably until next Thursday when I can get it brought down with next week's paper, and then I can get 10, 12 copies, and I can meet up with Kathleen and she can disseminate them, or I can drop them off at town hall, wherever you all would like. Have them dropped off at town hall, excuse me.
That sounds great, Peter. Thank you.
I think that'll solve it. We got meetings between, two meetings afterwards. So
I have a question.
Judy Neville, Peter, is it fair to say it's going to be 3 to 4 times the size that we're looking at, or is that too small?
You're hitting me at my strong suit, which is math.
Yeah,
So
well, I'm just
what
saying.
you're looking at is
Size.
8.5 by 11.
Yeah.
The full dimensions of one page of the paper is 21.75 inches tall by 11 inches wide. So it doesn't fit exactly. There's some adjustments that need to be done, but 21.75 inches tall, that's 8.5 by 11. You know, that's 2 over 2.
Yeah, it should be more 3.
It should be good. Should be good.
We'll see the mock.
yeah, and it's also available digitally and in booklet form. And this is just really a belt and suspenders, meeting the intention that it has to be published in a periodical, which this meets.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jen.
So this process is to basically educate the public, correct? But as we know, the town
It's more
council.
than that.
Excuse me?
It's required.
It-
It's required.
Right,
in
no,
terms of
I'm not
public
disputing that. Yeah, let me
Yeah.
finish, please, thanks.
Mm.
My concern is that on section 6, where we start itemizing what the questions are going to be on the ballot, those are up to the town council to create, if I recall, as part of the process. So is it prudent to have that section 6 in there? Because in essence, what you'll do is be miseducating the public if those questions actually do change on the ballot.
Won't it be edited?
It's a good
No,
question.
this is an official publication. This is the notice.
Yep, this
Once-
isn't the final draft.
Right, but
Right?
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that town council is going to approve
Right.
this draft. And then from there, my understanding is they're going to make the questions for the ballot.
Mhm.
That's not our role.
I know.
No, so what happened 10 years ago? Was it actually the questions that the town council had approved that went into the final report that was published in the newspaper?
So the report that we have, as you know, the questions were not in that for 2016. And they were developed, as Jen correctly points out, it's done by the town council. However, we did make recommendations to the town council, we being the Charter Revision Commission, made recommendations as to what is the appropriate language. And so in anticipation that perhaps the town council would also like to hear what we might recommend in terms of ballot questions. Again, it's their decision. We're there to help. I had put in, as we discussed at our version 2 draft, that we went back to the original language that was in the draft report and then put a suggestion for, and I think it says, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it says suggested ballot question. And what Jen is raising is, if this report is published, let's say a week after the town council approves the final report, by having the suggested ballot question, which again is a suggestion, it's part of the report. Your concern, Jen, correct me if I've got this wrong, is that it might be different from what the town council actually approves as the ballot. And maybe you don't want to have that confusion in the report.
I would actually recommend you strike 6, section 6, because they're going to come up with the questions.
Well, section
not-
6 is both the recommendations, and then under each recommendation is a suggested question. Is that what you're saying? The whole
Right,
thing should be
I'm
removed?
suggesting that we have no suggestion questions.
Yeah, but you're not saying take out the entire section 6. You're just
No,
saying
but we
just
get rid of the whole
right.
construct of suggestion questions
Yeah.
to basically not confuse the voter.
Well,
Yes. Go ahead.
This is Angela Jameson. So I can certainly understand what Ms. Holm is saying here. On the other hand, if we don't have something like the current draft section 6, I think the report is pretty empty and folks will not see clearly what it is that we as the CRC are recommending to town council to go on the ballot. So I do think it serves a useful purpose to have section 6 in here.
Yeah.
I would
Well, I
actually
think
argue that it's a
you're-
misrepresentation of the notice, which should be litigated.
Jen, just correct me if I'm wrong. You're just saying that section 6 has been in there for a long, long time. So I don't think you're bringing up something. The only thing you're suggesting is what was been new in version 3 that was not in version 2, and that is the proposed suggested ballot question portion. That's what you're referring to. Do I have that correct?
Yes, I'm saying with respect to the November 3rd, 2016, I would edit this portion then to get rid of the questions for the notice period. Yeah, I think those are going to be coming from town council.
Yeah, so
That's their right.
the word is the proposed ballot question under each of the 5 suggestions. Is that correct? That's the thing you want to eliminate. You're not eliminating
I want to
the
eliminate the
entirety.
questions, not the
Yeah, the
entire section,
propo-
but just the
Okay,
questions.
that's just to be
Yeah.
clear. I think Angela
Because town
heard you
council
say the
writes
whole
the
section
question.
6. Correct.
And if they decide that they believe that some things that are in the final report are elevated, which we've heard, to essentially be more referendum questions, and as we've also heard too, we have, it's up to them on the space on the ballot, then by basically putting in these suggestion questions, it's actually inaccurate. You're miseducating the voter.
No, we're giving a report that was going to be our recommendation, but I have no problem with removing the suggested ballot questions. We can do that as a separate input to the town council should they want to hear from us. So that's fine. That was the only change from version 1, really, was that proposed ballot questions. We can take those out, but the remainder of section 6, there is no other change from an earlier version. So are you okay? Is everybody okay with that? Any other comments or questions on that? I'd like to go through the entire version 3, but having the opportunity to see Nick Bamonte has just joined us, we might take a pause on that and take the opportunity to hear from him. So Nick, you missed quite a discussion, and I'm sorry we actually got started on public comments, but it's totally appropriate. As you can imagine, people are raising, just wanting your clarification on some issues, some questions we didn't have the opportunity to ask because we said, let's hold off. Let's wait until council joins us.
Sure.
I'll start first. Bill's raising his hand. Bill, did you want to ask a question?
Well, Kathleen, just one observation on the earlier subject. I mean, if the town council can get their wording together.
Then you put the right
fine,
Yeah,
maybe we can
exactly.
put
Yeah,
together.
for sure. Yep, absolutely.
Right.
That would be ideal. That would be
In
ideal.
order, just maybe to give
You just have to
council a
hold it
chance
up.
to warm up a little bit.
Yeah.
Sort of the first question we had was, the CRC, when do we terminate, Nick? And I guess reading the statutes and so on, it seems like, be when the final report's done. And, there is a thought or a suggestion that some people have enough spare time to work through November to educate the public. And many of us would want to do that, but that's not as a CRC member, right? Because we are terminated at that point, are we not?
No, that's not.
Yes, we are.
No, you're not terminated at that point.
When do we get terminated?
At the conclusion of any potential duties that may come back to your commission. So after approval by the electors, there's no further role at that point. The revisions get filed with the Secretary of State. But until that point, this commission is not dissolved, so to speak.
Did you take a look? I mean, we're hitting you a little bit cold with this. Are you comfortable with that? Or you want to look at it and research it and come back to us? Or up to you.
No, that's okay, Bill.
You good?
Jennifer, did you have a?
Yeah, then, can you explain the section 7-190, the commission shall terminate upon acceptance or rejection of its final report by the appointing authority? In the statute? It's number C.
Sure. what are you in 190C?
Section 7-190, number C, letter C, sorry. In the municipal charters, chapter 99,
Yep.
there's a C in 190, 7-190. The commission shall terminate upon acceptance or rejection of its final report by the appointing authority.
Sure. Yeah, that comes, I mean, whether it's accepted or rejected is a relative term. There's no set timeline for that. It depends on how many recommendations the town council makes and sends it back to you before they ultimately approve it, or there's a petition seeking a referendum. So, I mean, if the question is when precisely in our context does the role of the commission end, I don't think I could answer that yet.
Right, but if they vote on it in July before they go out on holiday in August, because town council doesn't meet in August, they accept or reject, is that then the termination period point?
We'll have to see at that point what, where the chips lay and what our opinion is.
I mean, it just seems to me it's a fairly basic question, right? I mean,
Well, if I can just offer, I'll go back. Well, let's just check with the town clerk because I'm trying to remember. I mean, I know the commission worked right up until the day after Election Day. And I don't recall being formally terminated, and maybe I have it wrong, but we'll go back and just double check that 10 years ago.
But that's just, I mean, we just need to follow the statute.
If may,
Yeah, sorry, Joe.
Jennifer read part of a statute. My question would be, it seems pretty simple. What does that actually mean? If it's accepted or rejected, then the committee
Terminates. And it's not may, it's shall.
Right, that shall. So what does it mean? What is the point of confusion? That would be my question. I don't understand.
Once the commission's terminated, it has no official action or duty to do anymore.
Right. And the statement that she read from, what was the reference?
Section 7.
Right. Can you just read it again?
Sure. So it's part of chapter 99, municipal charters and special acts. This is where the charter revision comes to play. Section 7-190, basically number C. This basically is under the auspices of the commission, how we're appointed, membership, duty, report, and termination. The last item is C. The commission shall terminate upon acceptance or rejection of its final report by the appointing authority. Our appointing authority is town council.
Now, I envision that as the town council takes a vote and either accepts or rejects. And then my question would be, why is that section applicable? Or why is it not applicable?
It might be. It might be. I mean, the thing about the law, Joe, is it's not just the language in the statutes.
Right.
It's about the courts and, how the law is interpreted and case law becomes law as well. So, I have to say, the legislature doesn't always give us the most precise and clear language because you read it and you could say, oh, that seems simple enough, right? But let me tell you, after doing this for 15 years, there's always a nuance. Okay.
So
if we get there, I'm happy to entertain the question, and consider the facts and the law and render an opinion at that time.
Well, I just think that, to be truthful, you're really overcomplicating it. I've never read the statutes before I got involved with this here. I just want to know what the termination date is, and
Bill, I'm telling you, I can't answer that question. I don't know how to be more clear for you.
Maybe we need to get somebody who can, because the chair is setting up dates going all the way in November. And I really would just like to know, are those dates something we need to wrap our mind around? Those things we need to be working on? But
as far as I know, Bill, at this time at least, my law firm is still the retained legal counsel for the commission. So until that ceases, I'm going to continue to do my job for you and give legal advice. So I just gave that.
Yeah, and Bill, as you know, those dates were set when we first started the commission, and we just have to put that forward regardless, if we are no longer, excuse
It's
me?
just far too complex. I mean, really, the
No,
statute's
it's
there.
not really.
I mean,
Doesn't have to
I
be.
assume if someone wrote it, they had a meaning. I'm sure as the lawyers interpreted, they, massage it 12 different ways. It must be a date by which we end. It sounds pretty
And once
much.
we find that date, Bill, once we find that date, we'll establish it. Well, again, let the town council go through their process. Once we establish that date, once we get clarity on that date, no problem. I'm not sure what we're arguing here about. We
Right.
set out all of the dates. Let's move on. Is there any other issue that you want to bring up in terms of what the termination date is?
I don't want to prolong this discussion, but I'd just like to say I am perplexed. Why is everybody making such a fuss about us taking on this additional work of making recommendations to town council about parts of ordinances that may need to change? The town council can reject, take, amend, do what they like with. I don't see why it is you're making such a fuss about it. It's now, I haven't finished, it is now 50 minutes into our meeting and we haven't discussed anything substantively because you keep going on about procedural issues.
I'll answer,
So-
I'll actually answer
Bill.
I'll actually answer your question, okay? I really don't want to work for 3 months coming up with
That's fine.
hypothetical things that we actually give to the town council that they don't even get back to us on. Because I
Okay,
think. that
Bill, thank you.
That's
Thank you.
truthfully it. That's what I'm asking. I didn't bring that up. It's just being responsive. Okay? And-
Todd Lampert. Todd?
Yeah, thanks. And I'm not going to opine on this date at all. I did want to support Nick though, because you guys think there's answers for stuff and there's not. Just look at the Supreme Court this week. 5-4, 6-3, 6-3. They're all looking at the same answer, the same facts. Come up with different answers. So it's just not that easy that you look at a statute and say that's it, because there's so much more to it. So I'm just going to support Nick saying, Nick, I appreciate what you're doing. It's not an easy job, and there aren't just easy answers all the time. So that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Okay. So let's go back to.
Previously, I was promised that Nick would answer the question, if I may repeat it, the insurance question. Or
Oh, the
previous-
insurance question? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Nick, as you know, our empowerment by the town council was to work on the charter. We're now doing work at subcommittees on the ordinance. And when we met in November, December, the question was asked about insurance coverage, liability coverage from the town's policy. And we were told it applies to us working on the charter. My question is, does it also apply to us if are we covered working on the ordinance? Even though the town council has not specifically asked us to do that, should there be an issue with the coverage extend to them?
I don't know. I'm happy to look at the policy.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Well,
Okay, great.
I think it's kind of important to know if we're covered or not, because
Just to clarify, we're not working on the ordinance. We're giving recommendations to the town council. They're the ones that go through that process. So if you don't want to be involved in those recommendations, you can. But I mean, we're covered. We're covered in terms of the work we're doing, and and Nick, that language, I think I'm forgetting who did that for us, but was it you or somebody else in terms of the DNO coverage? But we already have that reviewed. But if we can, we'll resurrect that again, not a problem.
That's fine.
So Nick, may I expect an answer to you on that question? An answer from you on that question? At some point?
That's what we just said, right? I mean, we looked at it, and the question is now in the exercise of I mean, if I'm understanding your concern, is the town going to pay for my legal bill if I get sued somehow? I mean, is that what you're driving at?
Working on ordinance, since ordinance wasn't in the.
It's not just
that's the
ordinance.
yeah. Okay, I understand the question. Sure, if someone can get me I mean, Kathleen, we can pull up or however we find the policy, and whoever initially opined, I don't recall specifically taking a microscope to it, so it might not have been me, but
It was the
whoever.
town's insurance. Yeah, we've done this before. It was the town's insurance that got back to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Judy. You're right.
All right,
Todd,
So
did you have
sorry,
your
just
hand
to leave,
raised?
I don't want to leave Joe in limbo here. So is the insurance company getting back to us or do I have something to do here? I'm happy to
You
help.
tell me. You
We'll
tell me.
ask.
I'm asking the question. I'd like somebody in a position of authority. to-
I'll get-
If it's a question about insurance, the insurance company are the people who need to opine upon it, not a
Yeah.
lawyer.
Well, right, well then.
Because they're the ones who are the writers
Well,
of the
they already
policy.
did once. We need to
They did.
ensure that.
You agree the town council didn't ask us to work on ordinance, they asked us to work on the charter. Therefore, I'm saying is if we now go beyond what they asked us to do, does the policy go with us?
Yeah, I
That's all.
understand what, I mean, I could just opine right now. I do not consider the work that's being proposed here with respect to suggestions for ordinances that the town council can carry forward. That is a necessary dovetail to what you're doing here. So I don't see that as some separate cause of action or some malfeasance for any of you commissioners. I suspect the insurance company will confirm that, but
Yep.
we should
When
probably
you
hear
say
it from
we're
the.
covered, when you say we're covered, though, that's the sentence I want to hear, that we're covered. And if we're covered, that's good.
All right, so I take it that I'm not going to be rendering
I'll
that
follow up.
advice.
I'll
We
follow
should
up.
reach out to the insurance company and get someone to render that opinion.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll follow up. Thank you. Okay. All
All
right.
right,
let's
did
get
you
to-
want to get back to Kim's questions and Heather's comments? And then
Yes.
certainly
And there
Christina?
was, and Hillary and Christina's there. Okay, so just as background, Nick. So the question is, and your most recent email to us was with respect to, do we have a set of recommendations from the town council that have transpired over the course of since May the 4th? And for their last meeting, which was June the 17th. And do those constitute recommendations from the town council to the CRC, which we may confer on? We don't have to accept them. We could reject them. We can, do all kinds of things with them. That is our ability. But are they? I don't want to use the word formal, although it's been used in terms of some of the comments. Are they recommendations? Because that's what the statute says. And we don't, and you have sent earlier emails when I was asking for more clarity. It would be great if we had more of a formal vote. We didn't, which is fine, but I wanted to know whether or not we can take these suggestions as recommendations, or do we have no recommendations whatsoever?
Yeah,
I think before you answer, I think we need to
Get your
be
microphone.
really careful here, because words actually do matter. And the process, one of the most prominent lawyers in New York who I've gained a lot of knowledge from and a lot of respect told me how important process is. And, you said, Kathleen, you used the word more or less of a vote. And I think.
No, I said recommendations.
when the
Recommendations.
Congress-
I didn't use the word vote. Recommendations.
Recommendations. And when Kim was talking earlier, he basically said, we didn't vote on this. Now, I'm not on the town council, and I don't really know what the facts are. But what you said is different than what Kim said.
Correct.
And so we asked Kim to do, and I think Nick, in fairness to Nick, he should hear what she had to say.
Of course, so everybody's going to have a chance to talk. Absolutely.
And then before we, because if he was to answer your question based on his memo this morning, I'd be pretty upset based upon what you said. I don't think they match. And I'm trying to actually help Nick out here a little bit.
This is yeah, you told me that you wanted to help me out of this mess. Yes, I got your message. Okay, so Nick, I'm just giving you sort of the summary. There's lots of opinions here, and we wanted to give everybody the opportunity to give their thoughts to you, and then you can opine. Thank you very much. Okay, let's start with Kim. Sorry.
You need me to come back up? Sorry about that.
So we have this order. So Kim Norton, then Hillary Ormond, Heather Russell, and Christina Ross, and there may be some others, but let's just go in that order.
Okay, so I apologize. I'm going to have to read this again because I don't think I can can
That's
shorten
fine.
it. So
That's
Nick,
fine.
okay, so Nick, I'm just going to read it again, okay? Hi, Nick. Okay, so Madam Chair and members of the Charter Revision Commission, my central point is this. As the appointing authority, the town council speaks through formal action taken by the body. Recommendations to the Charter Revision Commission must be grounded in official council action, meaning motions considered and voted on in a duly convened meeting. In my view, no such formal recommendations were ever adopted. This distinction matters because the council operates under established rules of deliberation, including Robert's Rules of Order, which govern how collective bodies reach decisions. Under those principles, the council acts through motions and votes of members who are present and participating. Informal tools such as straw polls may be useful during discussion, but they are not binding actions and do not constitute official decisions of the body. When the town council began the charter revision process and appointed this commission, I expected that after 2 public hearings and subsequent council discussion, we would provide a clear, formally adopted resolution reflecting the council's recommendations. However, that did not occur. For the record, the resolution prepared by my colleague was never voted on by the town council and was never circulated for formal council approval, discussed before being transmitted to the commission. I therefore do not believe it should have been treated as an official statement of the council's position or used as such in guiding the commission's work. Instead, the commission received materials characterizing informal straw polls as though they reflected official town council recommendations. While straw polls can provide useful context for understanding how members were leaning during discussion, they are not formal actions of the council and do not by themselves establish an official position of the appointing authority. I am also concerned that the reported straw poll results included 3 proxy votes. My understanding is that proxy voting is not permitted under the town council rules or under Robert's Rules of Order, which require that decisions be made by members present and participating in the deliberative process. Once these proxy votes are removed, the reported results change materially. For term limits, the vote is 5 in favor of term limits and 4 opposed. That's if you take out the proxy voting. Should Board of Finance be appointed or elected, we had 4 that were present voting in favor of putting this on the ballot and 5 opposed to putting it on the ballot. Should Planning and Zoning be appointed or elected, 4 voted in favor to put it on the ballot or recommend that it go on the ballot, 5 were opposed. And the ethics proposal, we had 3 in favor and 5 opposed. So that's if we take out the 3 proxy votes, we had a total of 9 members that were actually present in the room. These results do not reflect clear consensus or formal council action. Rather, they illustrate that the council did not reach a unified position on several of the issues presented. So that leaves 2 possibilities. First, if the statutory deadline for town council recommendations has passed, then the council has not exercised its opportunity to adopt formal recommendations to the commission. Second, if the commission continues to consider straw poll results, then those materials should be clearly treated as informational only and not as expressions of official council action. Either way, I do not see a basis to conclude that the town council adopted formal recommendations on these matters. The charter is the town's governing document. It deserves a process that is transparent, deliberative, and faithful to both the law and the council's own rules. My concern is not with the commission's work, but with ensuring that it is grounded in what the town council actually acted upon as a body, rather than informal expressions that were never formally adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Okay.
Oh,
Yep. Thank you. Joe, you have your hand up?
After Kim spoke, I read into the record, and I'll just highlight it again for Nick, the first half of the memo that you wrote on June 25th, saying that the statute speaks in terms of the appointing authority. That is the town council as a body. That means formal recommendations of the town council must be made by the majority vote of those seated when the item is taken up. Absentee and/or straw poll votes don't count. Now, there is one more little paragraph, but that I submitted that in support of what Kim was saying and would ask you to comment on Kim's statements with this memo in mind. Thank you.
And I asked the question, Nick, was to whom did you write your 25th memo to? I know that Kathleen got it. I'm told that Mike Morrow, well, I don't know that Kathleen got it. I'm told that Kathleen got it. Mike Morrow got it. And to the best of my knowledge, I have no idea if anybody else got it. And I did express that you should have sent it to the committee, but I realized that wasn't in your original engagement plan. And we probably should have been clear on that. But putting that aside, whom did you send that memo to would be something I'd be interested in.
You're saying I should have sent this memo that you guys are reciting? All right, guys, hold on. Let's step back, okay? Let's all step back, folks. Bill, hang on. You asked me a question. You want me to answer it?
Yeah, but I also want to know whom you sent it to.
And I'm sorry, repeat that last part? I missed it.
Whom did the 25th memo go to?
Yeah, you asked that about 5 times. I heard you.
Right, I was just wondering, good.
It went to whoever I clicked reply all on, quite frankly. I was included in some email correspondence that included the chair and Mr. Morrow. There might have been a couple others. But
No,
yeah, that was sort of, stream of consciousness. I know you guys are waving my emails around like it's the end all be all. But I'm happy to try to set the record straight, even though I know some of you folks will continue to fight with what I'm saying. And that's fine. But this is my opinion as your counsel. So the statutes which define this process at this step speak in terms, as the chair has accurately stated, recommendations is the word. Elsewhere in the statute, we see a more definitive language used, specifically the word resolution. Okay? So that wording is conspicuously absent from this stage of the game by statute. The town council, the appointing authority, just needs to make recommendations. There's no guardrails around that. There's no further definition of what that means. Now, if I will give the same opinion that I give to every board or commission, if you're taking some sort of formalized action of an entire body, then a written resolution, something that everyone agrees and or at least votes on, that is the cleanest way to do it, obviously. Absent a written resolution, that doesn't mean that the full exercise that the town council took over the course of several meetings and several public hearings, concluding on the 17th, with a clearly intentional effort of Mr. Morrow to poll his members who were present and call their votes for how they felt about the particular questions and recommendations. The whole intention was to give recommendations to you folks. So an email I sent out earlier trying to clear the air a little bit, that action was taken. And in my legal opinion, the town council has provided recommendations, and the prior report does not now just magically become the final report and you folks are done. So the fact that I agree that absentee members, I mean, that doesn't come into play here, into any sort of calculus. But what the folks said who were present at the June 17th town council meeting, that constitutes sufficient recommendations, in my opinion.
Can you provide that to us? Because I haven't seen that document of the supposed recommendation.
What document?
Yes, you did.
There's no.
That the town council agreed on, or that an individual?
Yes, Joe, you have the basically the it was a summary of all of the straw poll votes that came from Hillary Ormond, and it was distributed to everybody, and we discussed it on June 18th.
Yes, and my question is, I know it came from Hillary Ormond, but did it represent the town council?
Joe, you were at the meeting.
Yeah.
You heard it all for yourself, or you're just asking us to ignore everything that we all heard, all with our own eyes.
The question that I asked, so, does that represent the town council?
May I speak?
It
Since I'm
represented
here?
the vote. Go ahead, Hillary.
May I speak? No, it came from me. It was an attempt, excuse me. It was an attempt to help you, in case anybody wasn't at the meeting, although a lot of you were, to provide what the straw poll votes were, straw poll tally, whatever you want to call it. It was just intended to be a helpful document. That is all. That is all. It was not intended to speak for all of us. I apologize if there was any confusion about that. It was merely intended to represent, in my view, what happened at the meeting. And I will reiterate, and I will say, for one, I agree with Ms. Norton, what she said, that it was not a formal vote of the town council. I think that that was clear. So she and I agree on that. It was recommendations as required under the plain language of the statute to guide your further discussions before your final report. That is all. And I apologize for any confusion. I was just trying to make it easier because you guys were meeting at 5 p.m. the day after our meeting, where we took the pulse of where town council was sitting on these issues. So
Thank you, Hillary.
Is it fair to say that I believe, if I heard you correctly, are acknowledging this is your work, your perspective, and I'm certainly glad to read it in that perspective, but it doesn't represent the other 8 people that were seated there. This is just
could you tell me what specifically from what I provided is not factual or doesn't? I watched the video 3 times. No. Excuse me. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, the minutes of the meeting, the minutes of the meeting, to the best of my knowledge, haven't been approved yet.
That's right. We don't approve them until the next meeting, Bill. We don't usually, because again, it's a FOIA issue. We have to discuss edits or things that people don't agree with.
I agree with you 100%. One of the commissioners said, based upon the minutes, and I said, the minutes have not been approved yet.
Correct. We haven't approved them.
Hillary, I was sorry I wasn't at that meeting, but it was my 59th wedding anniversary that night. And
oh, congratulations. Happy anniversary.
The way you stay married for 59 years, you don't skip a wedding anniversary.
No, sir.
Putting that aside for a moment, the communication that you had, was that the one where you were talking about the Supreme Court in it?
Me?
I
didn't speak about the Supreme Court. The only communication I circulated to you all, and I believe I circulated an edited version because there seemed to be confusion with the language that headed up my chart of the tally, the straw vote tally. And then in the comments section, I listed comments that were made that might be helpful. So I noted in every single straw poll result, if you want to call it that Mr. Thunum, Ms. Naughton, and Ms. Young were absent, but had communicated. Like, I just provided factual information that I thought, if you weren't at the meeting, might be helpful to you.
Whom did they communicate that when you do a straw poll? Whom did they communicate that to?
We did it in the public meeting.
No, if someone wasn't there.
I did not speak to them. So Mike Morrow communicated to the rest of us what their thoughts were, but none of it's binding. None of it is binding, you guys, on us or you. So it's recommended,
We understand, Hillary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been very clear. Yeah, it's not a resolution. It's not formal, as I think Kim Norton used. It's information only. It's recommendations, and we appreciate those recommendations. I beg your pardon?
Does it satisfy the requirement for recommendations as stated in the statute? I think it's 7.1.
So Joe, thank you for that. Thank you for that question.
It says in his memo, if I may finish my statement, that straw polls don't count.
Thank you for that, Joe.
Joe.
Joe, are you just ignoring literally everything that I'm saying here?
Yes, he just said it.
Pretty much.
Okay. Okay. I think I've said enough on this one.
That's what I'm.
Okay.
saying.
So let me just be clear.
hear himself talk.
Okay, everybody.
I
we-
thought I was, yeah.
Steve has a question.
I
Thank
would
you,
like
Steve.
I would like to thank Ms. Orman for the straw poll. I was at the meeting. I tried to take notes on what everybody voted. I couldn't keep track of it, and I found the memo the next day extremely helpful to give input to us. I knew throughout that the town council was giving us input, that it was not a formal vote, and I honestly don't understand what's going on at this meeting. I'm insulted.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Okay, why don't we, did we have Heather Russell? Did you want to say something, Heather?
Fine, whatever.
I'm
Could I
sorry.
ask-
I did.
Sorry, I'd like to ask Kim a question.
Go
Based
ahead.
based upon what you've just said, when we received comments about your things about ethics and Christina's comments about what she was interested in, we were told essentially to ignore them.
We weren't.
Well, we were told to somewhat disregard them. They weren't statements from the town council. So how would you like us to handle what we got from town council?
Which part?
Well,
That's a big
the part
question.
from you, maybe.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The part from me. Well, it is included in the straw poll votes. I think it's important to take the straw poll votes and subtract the proxy votes, because I think town council is governed by Robert's rules and that, it's a deliberative process. So it is a 6-3 vote. So, take that into consideration and decide if you all want to take up the ethics as a discussion or not. And in my memos, I provided information that the audit report that recently came through, the procurement audit, mentioned a lack of controls and ethics in terms of conflict of interest and recusal procedures.
That is absolutely untrue. That is 100% untrue, Kim.
Okay, hold on a second.
No. That is,
Yeah, hold on a second. Hillary, okay. All right. Kim, can you just finish your statement and then we'll move on?
That is, I'm gonna differ with my colleague and say that I read the report and it does have a recommendation to strengthen the ethics rules regarding procurement. And I will stand by that for the record, and anyone can look at the audit report. So that is one example of why I think ethics, a timely example of why I think it needs some strengthening in the charter. And the second example was a very, earnest email we got from a resident that said that they were watching a planning and zoning meeting and Chairman Radman recused himself, and the resident asked why. So under my recommendations, there would be a public, and this is just, I'm just one person, one member of town council, but there would be a public recusal process and the public would know why someone was recusing themselves to the, with the comfort level of the person that is doing that. They don't have to provide personal information, but say,
So Kim, if I
Yes.
can, so thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And I think what Commissioner Holm was asking, there are comments that have come in from folks like you. From
I can speak for myself, right?
I know, I'm not speaking for you. I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah, you are.
So I'm speaking for myself. This is my question. Thank you. And so comments from you, which we appreciate, comments from Christina Ross, appreciate, comments from Eric Tunham, which came in earlier. We appreciated, and all good questions that are part of our deliberations and our discussion, because we do value what members of the town council have recommended, not necessarily as a body, but that we did hear, and we got the summary report from Hillary. We heard about the straw poll, and we appreciated those. We appreciated the summary that was put together for us. So all these components over the course of a number of weeks, where the town council individuals were coming forward with recommendations. We appreciate those. We take those recommendations seriously. We debate those recommendations. So that is part of our process. It is transparent. We don't like to send emails back and forth. We want to keep this all FOIA clean. And so although that doesn't always happen, so we do appreciate all the comments that have come in. And I guess what I heard is that you say, look, you want your comments forward. We've taken them in. It's part of our record. Thank you for that. And also with Town Councilman Ross. So these are all part of a process and we appreciate them. And Jen, forgive me for stepping on your comment, but you have your own view, but I wanted to share mine. It is a process that we've taken everyone's input who is willing to give it to us.
Okay,
Go
thank
ahead,
you for
Jen.
that. I will say that, I brought my comments forward on June 10th in an
Yes.
email at 5:45 that I've been reminded of that time by my colleague. That was an attempt to share that with the council. It was discussed in the June 10th meeting when
Yeah.
I tried to present it. And then it was discussed again when I did a second presentation on the 17th. So
Yeah.
I've tried in my best faith and effort to discuss that in front of the council. I don't understand why anyone would disagree with strengthening the ethics rules in the
Well, we'll
charter.
discuss
So,
that.
but
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
read an email from my colleague that said that they disagreed with me, and that's fine. Everyone has a different
Yeah.
opinion. So,
Yeah, that's
whatever.
fine. And we have it on our list of things to cover tonight if we ever get there. We did say time permitting, but on that was the additional language regarding the ethics and ethics board. So we'll take that up if we have time. And so we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Heather, did you have any other?
I did. And I want to, thank you all for the time and work you've put on this, but I have been concerned about, the process of what has all gone on. The process produced is about to become permanent, and it should not, without this commission saying so deliberately. Finality is close to the end of our role. And once the report is final, the council acts on it and this commission terminates. The record we make now is the only one that survives. And that record, not the deadline, is where the commission decides whether to put its name on this work. And here is the work in front of us. On June 17th, and I agree with my colleague Kim, this commission resolved a charter question by a straw poll with 3 members voting by proxy. And that straw poll was reported out and as something we had moved, debated, and voted, which we didn't. A show of hands is not a resolution, and presenting it as one misstates the record of this body. Separately, a sitting member of the Board of Finance took part in deciding whether the Board of Finance should become elected, a question about the structure of his own seat. He should have recused, and he did not. And the town attorney was present for all of it, present when we resolved a charter question by a straw poll, present when the meeting closed with nothing formally adopted, present when that member voted on the future of his own board. At each of those moments, this commission should have been advised that a straw poll cannot stand for an adopted resolution, that the member had an interest requiring recusal, that our draft was finalizing by default. We were advised of none of it by the person whose role is to advise us. I'm not naming any individual as the cause tonight, and I'm not raising every irregularity I could. My concern is the record. When this report finalizes, the question is not whether a deadline passed. It is whether this commission produced it through a process it can stand behind. We did not, and we are not required to pretend otherwise. I want the record to show that these defects were identified on the state before the report becomes final, so that whatever follows, it follows on a record that names exactly what the commission did and did not do.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, we also had, sorry, who else is it? Is it Christina?
Christina. Yeah.
Christina.
Good afternoon. I want to begin with a note of appreciation for every member of the Charter Revision Commission who generously gave their time and expertise to consider, study, and highlight the areas for improvement that the Charter demands. The New Canaan Charter Revision Commission prepared a draft report presented to the Town Council on May 4th. The Town Council held 2 public hearings on May 27th and June 10th. 15 days after the June 10th public hearing. On June 17th, the Town Council members presented ideas for consideration, which were later weighed in a straw poll and that the town council chair presented proxy votes for 3 absentee members. The town attorney, in a legal opinion in June 25th, 26, stated that the straw poll and the proxy votes did not count. A member of town council wrote a letter to the Charter Review Commission with a resolution and direction, which was neither approved nor voted on by the town council. The CRC chair had to acknowledge the mistake and withdraw thereafter the recommendation. On June 26th, the 15th day window allowed for the town council to submit recommendations lapsed. And the draft document is now the final document as per the Connecticut General Statutes. Later, the town attorney stated that the discussion at the town council meeting was sufficient and that a final report could be drafted regardless of the lack of written resolution by the town council. Should the CRC continue drafting a final document, and will this affect the electorate's confidence in the process and the outcome? Here's how this maps out onto the Connecticut Charter Revision Statute, and where we may run into real legal and credibility exposure. Under Connecticut General Statute 7-191, the process follows a fixed, self-executing sequence. The commission submits a draft report to the town clerk, who transmits it to the town council, the appointing authority. The council must hold at least one public hearing, with its last hearing no later than 45 days after the draft is submitted. No later than 15 days after that hearing, the council must make a recommendation to the commission for changes as it deems desirable. If the council makes no recommendations within the 15-day window, the commission's report becomes final by operational law, and the council then must vote up or down on it. The timeline of the May 4th draft, plus the public hearings held on May 27th and June 10th, plus the 15-day period following the last public hearing, makes the lapse period around June 25th, 26. The timeline tracks the statute closely, which tells me this is a real statute-driven deadline, not a discretionary one. Why do the straw polls, proxies, and vice chair's letter not count? This is the crux. The statute requires, quote, recommendations, end of quote, from the appointing authority, meaning the council's acting as a body the way it acts on anything else by vote of the assembled council. A few sequences follow. A straw poll is by definition non-binding. It's a temperature check, not a council action. The town attorney is correct that it has no legal effect on the Connecticut General Statute 7-191. Proxy votes are generally not valid for members of a public deliberative body unless the charter or council rules explicitly authorize them. Public bodies subjected to FOIA typically require members to deliberate and vote themselves in a meeting properly noticed for that purpose. A proxy cast on someone's behalf for 3 absent members is very likely invalid for the same reason. The vice chair's letter, a resolution drafted by one officer, sent to the CRC, never approved or voted on by the full town council, is not an act of the appointed authority. It's just one member's communication. That's presumably why the CRC chair had to retract it as a false recommendation. It was never actually a council's position. So under a straightforward reading of the Connecticut General Statutes, none of these qualify as recommendations. The 15th day window ran out with nothing valid transmitted, and the May 4 draft became the final report by operational law when the window lapsed. The tension in the town attorneys, there's a tension in the town attorney's position. This is where I flag genuine risk. The attorney first said the straw poll provides and proxies don't count, consistent with the statute. But then he said the discussion at the meeting suffices for the CRC to draft a final document, even without a written resolution or a verbal I'm sorry, I'm having problems with my eye, or a verbal definitive resolution voted on by the entire council present. Those positions sit uneasily together. If informal discussion can substitute a formal council recommendation, why didn't the straw poll, which was a recorded reflection of that discussion, count? More importantly, if no valid recommendation were received, the statute doesn't ask the CRC to go interpret the flavor of the discussion and draft something new. It makes the existing draft report final automatically. The CRC's role at that point is closer to ministerial, finalize, transmit what's already final, than substantiative red draft based on unimmuted council sentiment. Should the CRC incorporate changes based on informal discussions rather than a validity adopted council recommendation, that creates a real opening for a challenge, either an injunction to keep a defective question off the November ballot or a post-election lawsuit trafficking the validity of the process. The courts have validated charter actions before, and exactly this kind of procedural defect, improper voting quorum issues in the adoption process. Suggestion: I'm not able to give you legal opinion, and this is exactly the kind of question that needs one, ideally in writing, reconciling the two positions before the CRC reaches a final decision.
Thank you, Christina.
I'm not done.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
Even setting the legal question aside, you should expect this sequence: a failed straw poll, invalid proxy votes, a retracted false recommendation, and now an attorney's opinion that seems to relax the very standard he just applied to validate the straw poll. Registers with voters as disorganization, regardless of how sound the underlying charter recommendations are. Process confusion like this tends to do two things to a ballot question. It gives organized opposition a ready-made argument. They didn't even follow the process. And it makes low information voters more likely to default to a no vote out of caution. Clean, transparent, well-documented closure of this gap is essential to the process. Nothing which diminishes the work, time, effort, and extraordinary dedication that this commission has provided to the town. It is not an easy task, and we recognize and respect all the members of the Charter Review Commission. The council should have clearly stated their recommendation without ambiguity or reservations. Your acceptance of the draft as a final draft will do more for the November outcome than rushing to a draft that is vulnerable to a credible procedural challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Any
I'm
questions?
not, I beg your pardon?
Any questions?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Yeah,
Go
just.
ahead.
Are you
Kathleen,
asking?
do you
Yes. Oh, sorry.
comment?
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Christina. Yes. Thank you, Christina. Not sure that I understood what the Charter Revision Commission chair, the language I was trying to jot that down, but let me just be clear. We did, number one, I had said this is not a resolution, and Hillary Orman, who submitted the summary of the town council's straw poll votes, made it very clear. Yep, absolutely. It's within 24 hours. I'm grateful that somebody was actually able to put it together. As Steve mentioned, we all tried to put it together. We identified some things that were different. Hillary came back with a second one and made it absolutely abundantly clear that this was just a summary of the straw votes, and we appreciate that. We appreciate everybody's work on that. It was not a resolution. It's not a formal recommendation. We understood that. We completely understand that, and we appreciate the work that had been done. We appreciate the straw poll. We understand the proxy votes are not to be counted. Again, this was just information only, and we do appreciate all of that. That's the only comment or question. Oh, I will also just to reiterate, Hillary, thank you for the work that you've done. We absolutely understand everything you've done. And we understand that it's not a resolution, and thank you for that effort for what you've done. Were there any other comments or questions to Christina's?
I'd just like to answer Kathleen, with all due respect. The summary that was prepared and submitted to the CRC states resolved in accordance to the
Yeah,
chapter
she took that out.
99.
Yeah, she took that out. Yeah.
The town council hereby makes the following recommendations to the.
Yeah, she took that out.
modifications to the charter.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I'm sorry. I didn't see it, but the record
It
shows
wasn't a
this.
meeting, right? They took it out voluntarily.
I don't know.
No, not.
No, time out. That was presented to us at the next meeting, next night.
Yep.
That's what was given
Yeah.
to us. with
So
that
guys,
language.
everybody knows, right, that the draft report, the last page of the draft report uses language that said, here's a summary, like this is in 3 blanks, put whatever you'd like and so forth. That was the language that we had used 10 years ago. That was the language we had put in the draft report. That was picked up in the summary of the straw polls that happened on June 17th. I wrote back and said, I don't see this as a resolution. I don't hear, we all attended that meeting. It wasn't resolution. Took it out of that language and stated in a follow-up email to everybody, very sorry. And there was a couple of edits that she had to make to the thing because we identified some things that were not correct. She made those changes. She submitted it. We all agreed. It's not a resolution. We all agreed. This is what the information that transpired on the June 17th, period. Nothing more, nothing less.
Kathleen,
Go ahead, Christina.
You worked really hard to make sure we sort of, as a committee, towed the line.
Yes.
Okay. And I have to tell you, and all of my colleagues who were lucky enough to be able to attend that meeting, and, we deserved better from the town council to get a damn report that was clear.
That would have been great, but we didn't get that.
But on the 18th, you put undue emphasis, as I said on that call, on the straw polls and the people who weren't, and you did. And I wrote to you just the other day, and Commissioner Holmes tried to help you by shutting down the meeting and moving in a different direction. But we were talking about, well, these people weren't there, but this was their vote, different thing. It's totally inappropriate. And we should have gotten a report. And we shouldn't have to go back and take things out the next day, and we didn't. So for the council to tell us, and then to hear a parade of town council members tell us that they didn't have a vote, and they didn't have a presentation. I mean, I don't know whether they did it, but for council to tell us that what we have, which no one can even quite figure out, is adequate, I don't get it. I'm sorry. I really don't get it.
Okay.
And I think as, so,
Thank you for your opinion. I appreciate your opinion. Thank you, Bill.
I don't get it. And I do think that the record against us, it's like some of the other towns, Bridgeport and others, which have lawsuits going on. I think the record is against us if in a lawsuit.
Okay.
Can I just make a procedural point? There are people, Kathleen, who would like to speak, but you probably can't see.
Thank you.
Janet Bonds had her hand up first.
Oh, I'm sorry, Janet.
And then Karen Willett and Russ Kimes would also like to speak.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela.
And
Janet, would you like to join us?
Janet's ready.
Thank you, Christina.
Oh, God, yeah.
Again, thank you,
I'm on phone.
Commission members, for all the work that you did.
Sorry, Judy, you said you had follow-up questions?
Let them all go.
Okay.
Follow up.
Yeah, with all due respect, I think this back and forth between, straw polls and, absentee votes. I mean, we were asked to gauge our individual opinions. We weren't asked for an official vote. So.
That's right.
Right.
We were all there.
Right. So, and I don't want the 3 members who were absent for their opinions to be discounted. I don't think that's fair. Those votes were properly conveyed to the chairman through text, through email. If those need to be looked upon, to track what those were, that can be done. So I don't think that should be discounted. And if it'll help
for us to have an official vote of some sort so that we can put this to bed, then maybe we have to do that. But I don't think this back and forth about what the town council really thought is helpful. So, yes.
Thank you.
An official vote now, and the question that I've raised in several emails would be too late, that the window has closed because the last public hearing was the 10th, and then the 15-day window has expired. So
Well-
you're well beyond that. You're
Yeah,
up to day
well,
20.
Nick, is there anything that we can do that the town council can do to convey our opinions on a more official basis?
I think that the problem is, you all appointed us.
Yes, but I just don't want the
And you
argument
said-
that the timeline has passed so that,
Well,
you know, our opinions.
and-
council has to comment on this. I'd
Yeah,
like
And,
to-
so the way I'm trying to interpret when this is all raised, some people didn't show up to cast their vote.
Right.
And that's a prerogative they have. The way I read the statute is that you can either submit a report or not submit a report. So I don't know whether they're being pressured. So I'm really concerned about this. This is less about the housekeeping and more about, is there a substantive issue here? And this is not the first time that the town council has missed deadlines. Maybe not, maybe you weren't on it. I don't really know. And so this whole thing is quite troubling to me. This is not just a matter of what the votes are. The whole process is troubling. And so I think we're stuck. We're all gonna, I don't even know where we're gonna go from here, to be truthful. And I feel sorry for the town council members who weren't.
But I think
properly
our
schooled.
opinions were properly conveyed. We were asked for our general opinions. We weren't asked for a specific, for a vote. And that was properly documented. So by Hillary Ormond. So I'm not sure why we're discounting what every town council's opinions on the issues were.
Because the statute reads that the appointing body, the town council, will convey recommendations. And these are.
Which
Nick had-
the town council did. So
Yeah.
the process does not come to a crashing halt at this point. And, on the question of whether the town council can pass some sort of clarifying resolution, maybe. I'm not going to stand here tonight and answer that because I don't know. I'd like to look at that a little closer. But they made recommendations. So the process isn't over. The statute also contemplates a back and forth where it comes back to this commission, goes back to the town council. So there is statutorily authorized opportunity for more input from the town council. Here we're trying to operate within a tight window for purposes of getting it on the ballot. That's perpetuating how quickly we're trying to move here. But
That'd be helpful to have some more.
I don't know if
I
it's
know
legal.
beneficial.
I don't know if it's
we
legal.
keep pushing this out. I'm not sure. I would like another opinion on
But then we're
this.
discounting the opinions of 3 members that weren't there on a tech.
I'm
You
not
know,
disagreeing.
I think
They're
really,
asking
let's
us to-
call it as it is. There
Yeah.
are certain members of the Charter Review Commission who are trying to keep us talking about procedural issues, to delay actually talking about what is going to go into the final report. They're trying to obfuscate, and I think that is their purpose. They just want what is in the draft report to be the final report. Quite simple, and I'm not okay with that. So I think efforts to try and provide clarity to them just aren't going to work. This was going to be more obfuscation, more questions, and more challenges. And I'm very unhappy.
As a town council member, I would be offended that our opinions are not being taken into account.
Of course.
Because the clock has
Of
stopped.
course you would, but let's call it as it is.
Yeah.
There are efforts going on to try and make sure that we don't really cover any substance further that might go into the final report. They want the draft report to be the final report. And that's it.
Calling it what it is looking at the statutes and trying to adhere to them. One possibility that nobody has considered is the statute provides that if the town council doesn't provide recommendations, that the draft report become legal. But if I may finish, I have you. And this in fact may be the will of the town council. This may be what you wanted to do because you didn't, can anybody produce the list of recommendations? I haven't seen it. We've been talking.
You saw it last week.
You saw.
You saw the ballot.
Time we met. It was printed out.
Which Nick says doesn't count. It never reconciles. There's always an illogical piece. That's the problem.
We understand that, but Nick has spoken, you've made this point about 50 times today, and Nick has said his opinion on this. And I think we should move on because we're just gonna, I feel like we're being intentionally filibustered here. It's 6:30. And you're asking us to pretend like, and I know that you didn't see the meeting, Bill. I think if you did see the meeting, you would see it is very clear what each member of town council felt on each of these issues that we agreed in our last meeting. We all sat here and talked about the meeting that town council had and agreed. And everybody here who's saying that it's procedurally inaccurate was here and agreed to discuss those issues. And now you're asking us to ignore everything that we saw. And these are many of the same people, by the way, who are upset that the last charter commission or P&Z didn't take up the recommendations of town council. And now you're asking us to ignore everything that we saw in that meeting and to say that it didn't happen because of some procedural issue, which our lawyer has said is not a procedural issue. So now that we've just spent an hour and a half debating with our town lawyer about whether or not this is a procedural issue. And I would like, is there some way we can make a motion to move on? How do we get out of this?
Yes, we can. Yeah, I think we had all the public input, although I do see Hillary, maybe you have one last statement and then we'll turn to Nick Bamonte for one final, and then we have
And
to
Russ
move
has a
on.
statement.
Yeah, Russ.
Russ, go ahead, Russ.
I merely wish to echo Karen's sentiment. We have been in an hour, 2 hours now of procedural. Council spoke. It's done. So let's move on. We have had no substantive discussion of version 3 of this at all. And we know from the discussion there were at least 2 or 3 hot topics, regardless of which way people felt in town council. They were discussed, and we should probably discuss as well as their commission that has been appointed. We haven't even gotten there because we've been fighting over procedure. Please let us move forward.
Well, I would just
Thank
have to say, since Angela brought up, and I do understand, you're right, I wasn't there. But on the 18th, I was there and on the telephone. And I do remember we spent a lot of time going around the table saying, well, if there were this many people on town council and, how might you from a straw poll standpoint change your vote? I mean, we were, the word I used in an email that I sent internally, is we were trolling for votes to try to change. And I don't, I care less about what the outcome is, okay, but the process and the procedure to me is important. And when people say to me that we have recommendations from the town council, and I'm hearing 3 town council members tell me that they're not recommendations, I have difficulty reconciling that, okay? And I want to move on too. I started this meeting by saying, I want this thing to be over with. I asked Nick if we could just to give us a date when we're finished, because this is ridiculous. And I have to tell the town council members the fact that if Mike was here, I will tell Mike, this is terrible that the town council has not come forward with us with a report that they wrote. We wrote a report. They could have done that.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
So,
I just have a comment.
yes, go ahead, Judy. Thank you.
I understand. That's right. I understand what everybody's saying, but where we go now has not been answered. When does the clock start? When does it stop? And are we allowed to continue with their recommendations and continue to edit? Or are we looking at litigation going forward? Then we are not protecting the town.
I can try to answer that.
So
go ahead, Nick. Thank you, Judy.
From my perspective, I mean, I'm hearing a lot of, we're going to get sued. There's process defects here. Let me tell you, folks, if you were to shut down right now, you're just opening the door. You're playing with fire, a lot more risk in terms of litigation if you call that prior draft report the final report now. Like, you've got to be kidding me. I've heard multiple comments of, let's just read the language in the statute. Okay. What does the language of the statute say? It says recommendations. It does not require a formal written resolution. Straw votes are okay in this context. Anyone can cherry pick sentences out of emails I might have sent to try to, put your position in a more favorable light. But the bottom line is you're asking for more risk if I'm hearing the contingent that I'm hearing accepted as the next steps here. In my opinion, the recommendations have been made. This board should continue with its duties. And a written resolution would have been great. Sure, Bill. If they did a report, great. They didn't need to. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nick. So it's approaching the bewitching hour here. It's 10 of 2. And we had 5, Chris Labrie, I'm sorry. Chris, go ahead. Chris? Chris
Yeah.
has his hand up? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion. And the motion is that version 3 is the operative version of the draft and is to be taken up for further discussions immediately.
Okay,
Second.
that's
Second.
all those in favor. Aye.
So let's just make sure we've got this. So we've got. Okay, absolutely.
Call the question.
First repeat the motion.
Yeah, request that you repeat your motion, Mr. Labrie.
The motion is version 3 is the operative version of the charter and is to be taken up for further discussions immediately.
And that was the motion made by Mr. Labrie, seconded by Mr. Kimes. I'm going to do a roll call. Mr. Case?
I agree.
Yes. Ms. Corbett?
Yes.
Ms. Holm?
No, I believe that the final report has already been issued.
Ms. Jameson? Yes. Mr. Kimes?
Yes.
Mr. Lampert? Mr. Lampert, are you still with us? Yes, you are. Could you vote, please?
He has stepped away. He just sent me a text. I'll see if I can get him back on.
Okay, in the meantime, Mr. Labrie?
Yes.
Ms. Neville?
I'm going to abstain and ask for another legal opinion. Sorry, Nick, but this is too important.
I agree.
Okay, Mr. Palo?
I abstain and believe we should get an independent legal opinion.
Mr. Perrett?
Yes and no, but I also think suggestion that you make getting a separate opinion.
No, that's not the
Absolutely
motion.
right.
That's not the motion on the
I know,
table
but
right now, Mr.
It's
Perrett.
too vague and there's too many issues.
Okay, Miss Willett?
Yes.
Okay, have I asked everybody for a vote? And is Mr. Lampert available?
Here, it looks like maybe yes. Kathleen's unmuting.
Trying
Mr.
to, he is, Todd is engaged right now. He had to step away as an emergency.
Okay, well,
And
this is
so
what we have.
yep.
We have 6 yeses. We have 1, 2 noes. We have 2 abstentions. And then
Can I
we
change my vote to no?
Sorry.
procedurally, is Mr. Palo allowed to change his
If
vote,
not-
or
if
is the
not, I
vote
will
already
accept what I
taken?
vote.
Procedurally, can we allow that? Or should we debate it for the next 2 hours?
No, I will accept the decision.
So, Mr. Bermonti, Attorney Bermonti, may Mr.
If Joe
Palo
wants to
take-
change his vote, sure.
Go
for
ahead,
it.
Joe. Whatever.
Whatever, Joe. Okay, so now we have 3 noes and 2 abstentions and 1 absent. And that should come to 11, right? And there are 11 of us. So the motion passes.
I don't think you have Todd. So it can't be 11.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
put
we
him
only
down.
have,
I put him down as absent.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so
I'd like to make a motion that we get an outside counsel opinion.
I'll
To
second that.
have, the motion is to get an outside counsel opinion to discuss the issue of the finality of the report the dates, as well as the term recommendations from the statutes.
What budget?
Independent, you're talking about independent of Nick.
Independent counsel, yes, excuse me, thank you, Beth. Anyone second? You seconded?
I second.
I will obviously second it, but I already made that, so I don't know, do I get to vote?
Yeah, you get to vote.
Okay.
Is
all
there a
right.
discussion
It's-
on that?
Whichever.
So who's seconding this? Judy or Bill?
Well, I don't.
I got it, Judy.
I'll second it if Jennifer's making the motion, otherwise I'll make the motion. Whichever way you want to go.
Okay, shall I, call the
Can we have a
roll?
discussion?
Okay.
I actually think I'm all for lots of opinions, but I think we have a deadline to meet, and I don't think we can go out and hire another attorney. I'm not at all negating a side of the discussion that I'm not part of. I welcome that discussion, but I think we have a deadline in 2 weeks, and I just don't think we can meet that. And so I just don't think it's a relevant item given our deadlines.
Would it matter if we could get it in 2 or 3 days? I mean, 4 days?
But what?
I mean, it is the 4th of July weekend, so it'll probably be too much.
Yeah, I just,
I just think these questions are so critical, along with definitions, that, to Judy's point, we want to avoid litigation and risk to the town. And I understand about the deadlines, but that doesn't preclude the fact that town council could come in and vote in August. Sorry, town council.
I have to depart,
These are
but I am
very seminal
against.
issues.
I'm sorry?
I have to depart, but I am against hiring additional.
Oh, well, I don't, yeah, I think you have to stay for the vote if you want to vote.
All right, I got 3 more minutes. Sorry.
I'll just say that I'm not as concerned about litigation. I've lived in that world for the last 5 years. I think the process that this committee has followed has been, if anything, impeccable.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
I
go
call the
ahead.
question. I call the question.
That means it goes to a vote.
It goes to vote. Yep, go ahead.
Already voted here.
Well,
Okay, go
Is
ahead.
there any more discussion?
No,
No,
I
he
called
called
the
the
question.
question. He called the question.
Okay, so let's go round. Mr. Case,
No?
Miss Corbett,
No.
Miss Holm,
Yes.
Miss Jameson, no. Mr. Kimes,
No.
Mr. Lampert,
Absent.
He's not available.
Absent.
okay, Miss Neville,
Was it yes to hire an attorney?
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, okay. Mr. LeBris, sorry, I went out of order.
No.
Thank you. Mr. Pello,
Yes.
Mr. Perrette,
Yes, I heard his name.
Miss Willett.
No.
No, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 no's, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, and 1 person absent. So the motion did not pass.
Okay, so I beg your pardon?
Can I make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Okay, no, I'm not going to adjourn the meeting just yet. Hold on a second, because the first vote was we're moving to version 3. But I would like to, because I am best, I'm keeping the entire hotel awake here at 2:00. But I want to we have a scheduled meeting for Tuesday, June 7th. It's a special meeting. July 7th, forgive me. And we did take up, and Jennifer, I did not realize that you were trying to get me to stop speaking at our last meeting, according to Commissioner Parrott. But the 3 items on your to-do list that were said at the end of the meeting were Board of Finance property ownership. Second were term limits. Third were administrative policies, C2-14. I added on the last 2 items that were, one was addressed in the recommendations. It wasn't voted, and it was straw poll voted
not in favor of, but additional language regarding ethics and ethics board. And the last one was party line candidacy. And again, we don't have to take up those two. They were not part of our discussion last week, but I think just to be fair to, as we have to Eric Tunham and to the other councilmen that have come up with several different recommendations, that we should at least consider them and have a conversation about them. And so I've included them in the original list of 3 that were agreed upon on the 18th. And then there were 2 more that came in from the 2 other councilmen.
So it's
Kathy, I
spelled.
understood what you just said.
I beg your pardon? I can't hear you. Can you put your mic on?
If I understand what you just said, you said that there are a couple of recommendations that came in from individual council members,
Yep.
and we should consider them.
Yeah, they're on the list.
I mean, individuals rather than the town council?
Did you send us that? I just don't remember.
I did.
I
mean,
said, I put it in the
I understand the debate about people thinking we have a report. But what individual people then write in, I mean, come on, really, this is ridiculous.
No, they were council people who had put in, Eric Tunham included.
We don't.
If you don't want to discuss it, we can have a vote on that. That's fine. I'm just outlining as I did.
That's ridiculous to have a vote. That's what you did last time. You troll around until you get the vote you want. That's not, no, don't give me Bill.
There was no, Bill, please. Nobody's trolling around for anything. I'm just trying to outline what is going to be discussed as we agreed at the meeting you cut out on, okay? So
I didn't cut out because you
these are the 3 items. These are the 3 items I added to.
The town council report, discuss it, not individual.
Bill, thank you for your comments. So in addition to those 3 that we discussed, if you don't want to talk about them, that's fine. You can vote against having a conversation about them. Those 2 others, that was in an email that I sent to you as for consideration, and we don't have to take those. We are scheduled for a meeting on July 7th, next week. And that would be the order. So that's a continuation of the motion that was made by Chris Labrie that we take up review of version 3. One of the items that came up in our conversations, the one conversation this afternoon, was Commissioner Holmes suggesting that in section 6, that the proposed ballot suggested language not be included. I'm totally fine with that. But everything else, that's the only comments that we've had on version 3. So we didn't get far. So I'd like to say that the next meeting in July 7th, we move on. We just have these conversations. If there's anything else that's out there, great. But right now, that's sort of going to be our focus.
I want to move on, and I will bow to the vote. But I would like council to send us the report that our council send us the report that town council gave us, so we know what it is we're going to discuss.
I'd just like to go on the record and say
We've had that for 2 weeks.
But come on.
I'm sorry.
We've all had that for 2 weeks.
We've had the report, but Kathleen was just adding something to it. Well, I want to know.
No. I just said we can do it. These are 2 other items. These are 2 other items. These are 2 other items, Bill. If you don't want to discuss them, that's totally fine. You can speak to Christina Ross and say, I don't want to have this conversation. That's fine. I think these are perfectly fine issues to raise. We have that opportunity. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. We can vote to not have the conversation. That's what the process is all a part of. Okay, so we don't have to do that. That's going to be for next week. I'll not make any further changes other than I'll take out the ballot recommendations, and there should be no other, unless you guys have any other comments on version 3, go ahead and send them to me. Please don't reply all. I don't know that you appreciate, especially Commissioner Palo, that every time, talk about following procedure. Every time that you hit reply all and you take up these issues, even after I told you not to, you're not giving the opportunity to anybody else to have a conversation about these issues. That's what meetings are all about. We are
think you
denying
misread- I
people
think
the
you-
opportunity. We are denying people the opportunity to have conversations in public hearings, in public
If you
meetings.
looked at
We're
your email,
denying
you
people the
said I was
opportunity
not
to have
replying all, I was
discussion.
Sending individual emails.
Joe,
These were originated
Joe.
by me and I won't be lectured.
Joe, every time I asked that no one reply all, and yet you
I
chose to
don't
do
hit
so
reply. That's why I
repeatedly.
keep trying-
Repeatedly. And we don't give us an opportunity to have a debate. And that's what democracy is all about. Okay. So please do not do that again. And I'm going to, that's the last time I'm going to say it. Not again. Okay. So
Congratulations.
thank you. We're going to have this meeting. We'll be taking it up again next week. And we're just going to go right into working on the final report. And hopefully it'll be version 3 finalized, and then we can submit it to the town council. Okay? Can I have a, yep, go ahead. Karen?
I'd just like to go on the,
Jen, sorry.
sorry, I'm not Karen.
Sorry.
I just like to go on the record. I wasn't trying to stop you from speaking. I was trying to stop you from polling people to see if they would change their votes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
And I
everything
think-
that you do,
no, I
Jen,
just-
and I'm laughing
Can I
about
just
what
finish?
Bill wrote to
I'd like
me.
to just finish.
Yeah.
I'd like to finish. And
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think what was more appropriate at the time was to have a discussion about what is debatable. But in light of this 45 days and 15 days rule, I basically believe quite strongly that that report is now final based upon the reading. And so I think I really go back to the fact that we probably need to have a dialogue, a continued dialogue about what is a recommendation, what are we going to do as next steps? Because time is ticking, I agree, but frankly, I was objecting to polling people at this meeting to see, Russ, would you change your vote if we discuss this? Are you on the fence? And I don't think that was the appropriate thing to do. So I just want to go on the record.
Jennifer,
Why I
that train
changed
has
the
moved
conversation.
out. We just voted to work on version 3, so that train has moved out of the station.
Yeah.
And,
That's your opinion.
With that, I would like to move to end the meeting.
Okay, second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, everybody. See you next Tuesday. I will be present.
Okay,
In
enjoy your
person.
vacation.
Good night, everybody.
I'll try. Thank you. Thanks, Nick.
Asking a lot for this. Jeez.
Interesting.